afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero of Reich, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to 2 versus 2 on rails and metals. Between the south, we got Burmie and Immature, both fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany. Deutschland here fighting for the Panzer versus in the north, we got Boy Next Door and Deep Dark Fantasy fighting here for the United States and King and Country, forming up a combined task force here with elements of the Guards Armoured and the 3rd Armoured Divisions. We got him each choice of tactical support for Boy Next Door. As for Deep, we'll just call him Boy and Deep. We got special weapons, tactical support, Vanguard versus Lightning Roar, Storm, Festering Armor, Mechanized Assault, more Lightning Roar, and Spearhead. Interesting combos there. Infantry, bazookas, snipers on the Allied side versus infantry, anti-tank guns, Tigers and machine guns. Pioneers versus sections there. MD42 moving up, please just go double. MD42 is going to try and focus around here. Might try and two rush here against his opponent. Whereas from Immature, we got a more standard Grenadier MD42 start there. Both players are going for each own side of the map, similarly with the Allies. No immediate sort of choice here of early game cooperation between the two sides. MD42 setting up there. Pioneers need to be a bit more careful there. MD42 setting up their Grenadiers and Pioneers moving up here through the west. Overall, pretty quiet stuff. Second MD42 has arrived. Moving up there to capture the car front with that one. Pioneers grabbing the fuel point under cover of the MD42. Right section sneaking about there. In the west, we got Grenadiers here. Pioneers moving up against the echelons. MD42 should probably be the one moving up to support the Grenadiers, so the Pioneers and Grenadiers. And we got additional Grenadiers there for Immature for Burmie. We got nothing further yet there. He's got plenty of manpower, but he's not doing anything with it as of yet. That could be a bit risky there. Here in the early game, you want to keep up some kind of pressure momentum, and just blowing that much manpower that quickly tends to be less good, which of course is a bit surprising considering Burmie is otherwise a reasonably high ranked 1 versus 1 player. Section now being held back by the MD42. MD42 dealing with the rifle. He's trying to. Pioneers and Grenadiers taking a few hits there from Rifleman. Poor Otter there dropping down. More Grenadiers arriving. Allies seem to be holding back at least until they can bring up some artillery here. We got mortars out for Boy, and for him we got further also fighting posts here to cover up the centre. Deep laying down trenches here. Section holding up there. No, that's actually a Vickers. Another look further. And we got take up here for Burmie. So Mark D's planning a quick light mechanized company and then getting several Panzer Grenadiers out, relying on sort of more heavily equipped infantry to push back against the Allies. That would not be a bad idea. Grenadiers, MD42 Pioneers in the west side. Grenadiers need to be careful though. Mortar fire raining down close to them. It's not going to end up too well though. I mean, they do get free shots to that section, which for some reason has popped in there, basically allowing the Germans to shoot at them quite there. MD42 firing up there, the advancing section, but still has to be careful. I mean, overall, it's a much too slow approach here, I think, for Immature. And again, versus a mortar, he wants to be a bit faster here. But the problem is he's not, which means he's going to be a pretty easy target here for Boys. Mortar here, which is already taking hits there on the Grenadiers section. There's still suppressed rears moving up support. In the south here, Vic is pushing back the MD42 there. Burmie lacking infantry, can't really push through there. Like the mechanized company going up there. He's still got plenty of manpower. And again, I'm guessing he's planning for Panzer Grenadiers, in which case he just needs to get as many as he can as soon as he can. I mean, otherwise, this is really going to be a pretty awkward start there from which is going to put most of the effort then onto Immature. He's going for 3 Grenadiers, 1 MD42. He's also taking up. Like to make a nice complete done. 2-2 on the way there. We definitely should be getting some Panzer Grenadiers, some infantry with assault rifles. Riflemen there suppressed by the MD42. You could also consider Flamethrower half-jet. That would be a pretty good choice here versus the Vickers and other sort of dug-in elements around here. So Flamethrower half-jet, I think would actually work a bit better here. Mortar fire though on the MD42. They need to fall back here again. Overall, again, Immature just can't quite get the pressure off. The problem is also that Deep and Boy actually working together against him, whereas Burmie, due to his slightly more passive start, he is not really so much able to do anything to support with him. So really what Immature should have probably done is try to fall back here and then try to move up here in supporting of Burmie, and then sort of try to push through here instead of just trying to fight over his own far removed from Burmie, which makes him a lot easier to target. Burmie, though, is to his credit actually building some fuel casualties. He's also going for Panzer Grenadiers, but the fuel casualty will assist both him and Immature, so thumbs up to Burmie there. They probably could have had that slightly faster or something like that. Rifleman versus MD42 in the middle of the bloody road. Not the best setup there for Burmie, but he's not trying to push it against the MD42, or the Vickers again. Mortar placement up. He's got mortar there from the British. This, I think, would further place emphasis on a Flamethrower half to get something really good there for Burmie. Up here to the supporting Immature's advance up the west side, though lacking a bit there. And sneaking up, you're actually going behind the Allied position, flanking them with the 2-2. Not a bad idea there with the 2-2 at all, not a bad idea. Of course, you could also have done the same with a flamethrower half-track. And they're going to get the mortar in placement, locking that one down by forcing it to braids. Pioneers bring up here for the centre, but getting halted here by the 50 caliber and rifle grenades, almost getting wiped out there. Trying to clear out the fighting position there. If you can get some troops up to assist from the other side, it could do a lot of damage. Not quite enough force there. We got the Panzers coming up through here. Might be able to break through. Almost got the fighting position there. If you can't get it though, otherwise the Panzer is going to get suppressed. And there we go. Got it knocked out. Immature needs to get up to support though. Push up against the Allied position. There we go. Panzer's moving up. A bun grenade here I think could do it quite nicely for Burmie. And there we go. Bun grenade on the rifle and the mortar crews. And got the mortar entirely, but can't quite get it. Rifleman taking losses, need to retreat the Panzer as quickly though still the mortar in placement. 2-2 falling back under fire from the sappers. Germans in a pretty solid position now, having slightly turned things around there again. Once Burmie was able to sort of assist Immature, things began looking a lot better quick. We've got a captain out here for Boy, that could probably ultimately have stood quickly down the road. Sappers there inside the house. 2-2 needs to fall back for repairs, going for the fuel point up north. Burmie is bunkering up, but he's not getting more troops, and he's certainly not getting anything like, say, a flame for a half-track, which again, a part of me really thinks would be great here. Grenadiers need to retreat. Lead. Rifle grenading the captain. I think that was a pretty poor decision to do so there, and there we go, sniped by a bazooka. That was definitely, I think, a poor call there by Immature. He should have just retreated, gotten the hell out of there. You got like mechanized company with a pack 14 away for Immature. Again, the Germans, I think, need to clear out the house here and then try to attack through here as well. Go for the cough points of the Allies, force them away here from what otherwise is a pretty strong point. Instead of trying to take the point out directly, force the opponents to abandon the point, at least leave it weaker and then hit it. 2-2 here, got Pioneers on the way to support. We got a pack 40 as well for Burmie. I don't think he's going to have to go for a pack 40 right away. I mean, obviously, a Stud could cause some quite a bit of grief either way, but I think he should try and focus on more infantry, since really what he's lacking at the moment, and thus he's lacking something that can sort of seriously push ahead. Boy, they haven't gone for the Stud. Deep has teched up, but we've got Buffos up there instead, so that means the potential for more sort of shenanigans around there. Gonna disrupt the section there, almost wiped them, but ultimately they got away. Stud out here, the M51 there for Boy. Armed with the 37mm gun. Fun fact, there were several variants of the Studs actually used by the British. Basically, they modified in different ways, either as reconnaissance, where they just removed the turret and replaced with a 50 caliber, or they actually just completely opened up and turned it into a small armoured personnel carrier, though they saw most usage in North Africa because, well, it turned out they weren't that great after all, and generally not that survivable in Europe. But still, they saw usage there, though generally sort of known as the Kangaroo. And of course, obviously, we know the other Kangaroo, which probably saw a bit more usage later on, but still, there was also an armoured personnel carrier version of the Stud as a fun fact there. Mortar there getting blasted. Anti-tanker moving up to need to fall back. Gun bazooka fire there raining down on it. Germans probably yet to go for doctrine. Stud holding up there, hasn't done too much. Anti-tanker misses the 2-2. Panzers need to fall back as well on the fire there from the mortars. Pack 40 covering here. Still not clearing up the Vickers. And what is Burmie planning here? He's still not got a lot out in the field. He's still a field floating a bit much. As for Immature, he's going for more Grenadiers, not Panzer Grenadiers. No sign of tech up there either. I mean, both players got some fuel now, so they could easily, I think, afford to take up from, and that way, try and hit the Allies. In theory, one of them could try and play for Tier 3, while the other plays for Tier 4. As long as one, goes for Tier 3, one could, in theory, play for Tier 4. Maybe, got a Panther or something like that way, building up some greater firepower versus the opponent, maybe establish some kind of superiority, however brief. I mean, that could work out if they were to plan for that. Fresh pressure here from Immature. Immature not really considering any other angles of attack there, any approaches, and he's not getting any artillery to at least support it a bit better then. Grenadiers moving it pack forward here a bit further back than I would like to be able to support the Grenadiers there. MD42 getting blasted by American mortar over here. MD42 pushed out as well. Still not trying to push further up. But here again, they just seemed a bit too focused around here and here. And the Allies are basically playing around with it, which isn't too good for the Allies either. I mean, they should try and, do more here as well. But again, they do feel a bit, too caught up in centre west as well. Munitions cache here, up for Immature. Rather close to the front. In fact, he's going for double munitions caches. He's going for a lot of munitions there for both him and his teammate. I wonder why that is and not, say, fuel caches. is reasonably interesting. Burmie has probably gone for Storm Doctrine to the 2 veterans into. Stuart being fixed up. Grenadiers advancing with light machine guns and the lights pack following up support. We got Buffos fire as well here, firing as artillery there. Which, I don't know how many anti-aircraft guns can do it, but I knew it was actually a particular feature of the Flak 88. And in many cases, the Flak 88 would also be used as artillery. Fun fact. Grenadiers pack force getting mortared, 2-2 knocked out here as well. Again, the problem is right now, the Allies are basically sort of both in here in the area, and the problem is, it's mostly just Immature fighting against them, whereas again, Burmie's not got a lot of force there, and he's not really trying to release the pressure elsewhere, and then sort of move up then for some support from the other side. So, it tends to be a bit, a bad fight here for Immature, and he needs to, change up his tactics a bit. Overall, they need to change up their tactics and strategy, because long term, this could easily end up poorly for them unless the Allies turned out to do something really, really dumb. Panzers rushing up to the Sappers, need to be a bit careful about that. They are 5 man now, bolted section plus veterans 1, and the thing to keep up with Sappers is, at veterans 1, they do get a card bonus as well, meaning they can actually take on Panzer Grenadiers there pretty nastily when they're at 5 men and veterans 1. Ostman on the way there for Burmie, so he has managed to take up there, rushing out the Austrian flak panzer. Again, if we were to clear out the area here in the east and trying to flank in for him and go for the CoH points, which are not quite so well covered, I think again they could have some effect there. We got air recons here from Boy, that's good work. Quick getting a look on the crouch, the Germans. Mortar firing down the MD-42. We got more fuel caches here for Burmie, building up from Murama. He's going for tier 3. It wouldn't be a bad idea then for Immature to maybe rush for tier 4 and try to get a Panther or Sturmpanzer. Then that way, pressuring the Allies a bit more. The Sturmpanzer I think could be quite effective as all this infantry and support weapons, and a Panther would just be able to lock down armor a bit more. Well, we got the flak pants out here from Burmie. We got Damyabos, shoot it! Oh, nice shooting. Yeah, thank you. If just the Luftwaffe was here, so we'd actually shoot the infantry targets too. Got another push here. Slowly moving up. He needs to clear out the Vickers, then he can do so with the Osmanlis. Pressure it out here. Bit of fighting here. Immature just seems to be sticking to the same old battle plan. No attempt sort of modified or change it up a bit here. Austin finding out the Vickers. Vickers finding its shots. Not too surprisingly ineffective. He got run gun upgrades here as well for Deep. Was yet to choose a doctrine here. In the west, Grenadiers advancing against Stuart with rifle and support. Finding back Pack 4Ds. Finally, he's got double Pack 4s out here as well. MD-42 might be able to get the Stuart here. And, close but no cigar. In these tier sections, firing away there merrily. Osman is about to deal with that a bit. Though there might actually be some Piets there. But something else did some damage to the Osman. I'm not entirely sure what did the trick there. There we go. There's a 6-pounder gun there. Osman has to fall back. Then can't quite stop it. Panzer's fighting from the trench. There we go. Osman lands several good hits there. Note again, it stands still while shooting, increasing its accuracy notably. But he needs to get that Osman fixed up. He needs some more support. We got Panzer Grenadiers. That's good. We got a support across well here for Immature, which again also works quite well. But a part of me figures, in particular because he's very much instead of just attacking head on against a Sturmpanzer, I think would do him a bit better than versus dug-in opponent. That was some mortars. Stuart being fixed up again. The Bofors, by the way, was a Swedish anti-aircraft gun. Bofors also provided anti-tank guns and tanks and anti-aircraft tanks, in fact. In fact, here's the really fun thing. They actually had a Bofors-mounted anti-aircraft tank which looked an awful lot like the Ostwind. A lot sooner than the Ostwind actually existed. Even more fun fact, they sold to both the Axis and the Allies. So there's another little fun fact there. Osman engaging here the section with its 37mm flak. Panzer Grenadiers under fire here from the mortar emplacement and the American mortar, which is still about. In fact, he's gone for double mortars, further increasing the artillery available here to the Allies. They're sort of slowly broadening there the umbrella of death. Before to bring up, he needs to be careful. He needs to rush that in first. In fact, that's a pretty poor choice there, I think, by Burmie. He needs to retreat his MD-42. It's going to get shot up close. Panzer Grenadiers advancing up there. No real attempt at outmaneuvering the Allies so far. And the Allies are just sort of content to sit around the centre and sort of just try and, grind down the Germans a bit. Panzer Grenadiers here versus anti-tank and quick bound grenade. We got mines. I need to protect them from the flanks head of... mild flanks, I suppose. We've got telemines there from Burmie, though. MD-42 wiped out. Unsurprisingly, again, I'm not entirely sure what Burmie was thinking with that, but that obviously didn't work out at all. Got the Osman here to rescue. Section up close, being blasted there. Part's got it under fire from the sappers with the Piats. Needs to be careful for the Ostwind up west here. Slow approach here. Stuart's coming under fire there. Go. Pack 40s wipe it out. A victory there for Immature and the Wehrmacht. He's called up here. Stug. Sturmgeschütz. He's got an awful lot of anti-tank, just not a lot of anti-infantry, which is something I think he also needs here. Versus all the riflemen now with Browning light machine guns blobbing up. In which case an Ostwind would have been pretty neat. And Ice lost his MD-42. He's got none else. Stug coming up to support M4 to recruit. Pioneers, Pack 40s need to fall back. Grenadiers retreating as well here. Definitely not good here in the east. Not so much progress. You've got Panzer flanking against the section there. Ostwind being fixed up again. Panzer is going through the section pretty quickly, pushing away. Sappers moving up. But under heavy assault rifle fire are pushed back. And we got MD-42 Pack 40 hanging back here. Loading Bowie, he's got ambush camouflage on the MD-42 covering the victory point. Victory point wise, it's a bit of a lead there for the Germans over the Allies for now. Still continue to fire away with the bazooka fire there, is forced to fall back. Pit up machine gun on the way. Immature could go for an Ostwind now to help deal with infantry. I think that would be a pretty good idea. Ostwind opening up the anti-tank gun, almost got it. Almost, there we go, wiped it. And he could then wreck it. In fact, he should wreck it to ensure his opponent can't grab it back. Just penetrate the gun shield somehow, which generally wasn't really that durable. It was mostly protected against shrapnel. I mean, the funny thing is, which generally turns into getting discussed a lot, but most anti-tank guns, once spotted by a tank, had terrible survivability. I mean, they were just pretty much dead. In fact, it was something the Germans were quick to realise in the Eastern Front and actually adopted tactics to increase the survivability of the anti-tank guns. Basically by following what was known as pack fronts, which is just basically anti-tank fronts under one commander's specific orders, meaning they just maximised the amount of fire they can get off in one go, ensuring the return fire was minimal. Panzers need to retreat by the way. Even more fun fact is, the Russians caught on to that pretty quickly, and then used it against the Germans. And the Germans then had to try and find counter-tactics to their own tactics. So then, you know, one of those cases there where, again, the Germans and the Russians, you know, copied and learned a lot of each other on the Eastern Front. Because there's a lot of stuff they're sort of basically crossing back and forth. Nothing further in terms of armor further. No additional Ostwinds, Panzer IV Stugs, and no attempt to say maybe, you know, teching up either. The Allies just slowly approaching, encroaching here in the east. MG42 opening up there. Just quickly suppressing the section, getting a few kills. Need to get the Ostwind over there to support. We got a howitzer up here for Burmie, so adding in some artillery to blast those allies. And over here, Stug, MB42 Grenadiers, set riflemen charging forwards there. Grenadiers need to retreat. Again, overall, Immature's approach is just to slow them with the amount of artillery fire he can take there from the allies. Again, they've got so many mortars, which basically means just standing about like that is generally not very advisable. We've got taken by Boy with the Jackson on the way. Falling back here pretty quickly in these. We've got the allies pushing forwards. The Ostwind is not moving up to support, at least slow down the allies. MD-42 lost as well there. Not entirely sure what the Germans are thinking there. Grenadiers trying to do this here with the advancing riflemen as well. Stug slightly falling back. Howitzer ready. Jackson almost done there for deep. We've got, well, he's got the company command post, but he's yet to get anything from it despite having the resources for it. Grenadiers need to retreat. Other Grenadier squad needs to get the hell out as well. And artillery firing. I think he's trying to silence the opponent's artillery first rather than trying to kill the opponent's infantry, which is currently a bit bigger threat there. M36 Jackson out there for Boy. Rifleman moving up with the bazooka support there against the munitions cache. Back here, Stug being repaired. Sections and sappers holding up in the trench there. Ostwind finally got to go. But at this point, it's a bit late. Now he has to try and dig them out. The problem is the Ostwind isn't good at digging out units in cover. It's very much better at flanking or, you know, dealing with units out in the open. Gonna have to put a grenade then. There you go. Force out into the open. Suddenly the Ostwind does a lot better. Veteran fleeing the Panzer Grenadiers. Immature reeling on the backside here, or back foot. I mean, the Allies are more split up, but still he struck me here. Stug getting a kill there with its main gun, firing away constantly, but needs more support. Ostwind, he'll be great, or a Panzer IV, but I guess Immature now is playing for the Tiger. The problem is the Tiger is still far off. So it's not really making a lot of sense. And Burmie is also floating a lot of fuel and manpower. He could easily, you know, go for Panzer IVs. Ostwinds take out for Panthers and, you know, Sturmpanzers. I mean, it's not quite making sense that what Burmie is doing there. And again, there's just this huge float here, fuel, which again, he's, you know, built several caches. So why wouldn't he go for a lot of armor? Why wouldn't he, you know, build up a lot of tanks to go for the bigger ones? So So there's definitely, seems like a bit of an oddity going on there with Burmie's play, which it can't really explain. It seems very odd. I mean, again, why build several fuel caches and then not utilize them in any way, you know, the resources you're getting from them specifically? Galley's attacking on their own up here. Scott on the way there by for Boy, that's an interesting choice, haven't seen theirs in a bit. Osman is veterans 112 kills, not bad, but again, the complete lack of further armor from Burmie is staggering. How to continue to fire away here, try and get to silence the fighting mortar placement. Wipe the rear slants, not bad, not bad. Section fired away. Osman there trying to deal with the trench. Slow progress up here again on the western side. The Allies beginning to suffer a bit. The Howitzers doing some work there. They need to completely knock it out. They get coming all the way there for deep. That's going to give the Germans here problems. Panzers need to retreat. Cut up Angrenell for the section first. And wipes the section. Good work there. Good work. But again, the complete lack of anti-tank here, besides in a single pattern pantry, is a bit worrying. And again, Burmie, oh, he's finally going for a Stuke there, but you know, he could have had a lot more armor up. In fact, again, I'm pretty sure he at this point could have had a Panther up to then challenge the Comet. Instead, his Ostwind is now pretty much alone there with no real support as the Comet hits it. That's definitely a mistake there by Burmie. Deep over here going for special weapons. Ostwind knocked out. Up here in the west, we got slow approach by Immature. Also needs to get that Howitzer back there and silencing the mortar placement. You know, finish it off. In fact, he might even catch some American infantry advancing around it because for some reason, Boy has committed to the really great idea of placing his men next to an artillery target. Come on, Carl. Don't be a coward. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You get hit by artillery because we placed our forward retreat point next to an artillery target. Don't be silly. Stuke moving in there from Immature, rushing in support. Second Stuke arriving here. And it's great they're using Stukes. I just feel like they could have more Stukes out by this point. And Immature has, I think, too focused on the Tiger tank. He's wasted the Pioneer's got trying to recruit the 51mm gun there. Not good. A 6-pounder gun. Panzer's getting some kills there with bun grenades in before supporting. Pioneer's wiped. Not entirely sure what he did right there. I think that was a poor choice there by Burmie as well. Comet moving up there. Stuke needs to sort of get some support up there from the other Stuke. Artillery firing there. Artillery raining down the Howitzer. Almost got it. Artillery knocking out there the Howitzer. Mortar placement is down. Almost got the Comet. Almost got the Comet. No, don't move into the artillery target. What are you doing, Burmie? 9. And he loses not only the Stuke there, but the MG-42. Didn't get the Commodore, almost wiped the Patriot Fleet Panzer Grenadiers. Staggering losses there. Horrifying. Burmie's got barely anything left there. And he's about to lose the Stuke as well. He's tried to get the Comet there. Fuel cache on the fire from the section there in the west. Immature on the defense bit feels like. Osman hit them missing, being knocked out by the artillery. Osman up to deal with the advancing sections. And Sappers covering up the retreat here with the Stuke. He needs more Panzer gun and he's an Immature. I think this use relief infantry at the base to get some Ostrom while he then waits for the Tiger, although he can very soon go for the Tiger tank. Sections pressed here with MG-42. Sappers pushed back with the Ostwind, suffering quite heavily. So Tiger there out to support the Panzer Panzer showing his time here for the mid-game analysis. In terms of damage, the Allies are sort of, I mean, Steve is seemingly doing a lot more there. In fact, he's performing a lot better, mostly better here than Boy. I mean, Boy's done less damage, done less kills, suffered a lot higher losses forward. Comparatively, Immature and Burmie are more closer to each other, though Burmie is sort of getting a lot more kills. So again, you know, he's been, I think, he's been mostly finding the British player, though probably also somewhat the American players. You know, either way, the Germans are a lot more sort of close to each other, but again, here, Deep is overperforming better than the Germans, but not combined, obviously, whereas again, Boy's just sort of underperforming, if you will, in terms of army value. On the other hand, again, Deep's actually, again, you know, the one with the smaller force. So, I mean, that's also an interesting sort of note to highlight there. I mean, again, Boy, despite having a larger force, hasn't been able to leverage it very well. Compare that maybe to Burmie, again, who's a lot more close in performance. In that sense, again, the Germans, much, you know, more close to each other. Allies a bit more disparate as well. But on the other hand, they sort of, one of them at least tends to perform better than the Axis. In terms of resource float, Immature's really been floating waiting for that Tiger. Burmie's sort of a bit as well, though again at the same time some of the allies have been as well. And then finally in terms of points held, it's been a lot closer though between the four. So I mean, not so much there. But again, the Germans to an extent are working, better, but at the same time there's not really much teamwork going on there between Burmie and Immature, whereas Boy and Deep do have more sort of teamwork going on between the two, which do mean, they can, I think, also exert greater strength here than the Germans, even if, Boy isn't right on the same level as Deep. Overall, they're able to perform well because they work together, whereas Burmie and Immature are essentially fighting their own separate wars with little coherence. Another issue, of course, is also the whole fuel cache, which again is great. The problem is they just haven't really been able to leverage it, which now has really sort of come to bite them in the ass. I mean, Burmie was basically too slow in getting up more armor, and then just basically lost it all. He even lost the Howitzer, which is being 600 manpower, which again could have probably been used to, say, like 2 Panther Force or something. But overall, for the Germans, that is for Burmie and Immature, it's going to come down to, I think, trying to just stop attacking through the same angle, try to attack through here, try to, flank the Allies through here instead, hitting the forward positions, clearing out the Bofors here as well, and then perhaps swinging in for them. And they want to launch a big assault through here, sweeping in, hitting the areas here, and then sort of pushing in towards the west, securing that area as well. I think they could do a lot of damage there to the Allies because it's not really so much preparation in that department, but again, that requires a large armor build-up and also Burmie to get some more infantry because right now he's been he had 2 Panzer Grenadiers at most, and now it's just down to 1 Panzer Grenadier squad. So he needs more infantry to make this work. And he's got tactical movements to make it also work better with the infantry keeping track of, pace for the tanks. And he's got bombing strikes, to sort of lay down hits on sort of, certain targets. Immatures, could go for some relief infantry, some Stuka close air support once to clear out the Bofors could be quite helpful. But again, I think you should just try and combine for a big attack through here, up there, into here, clearing out the area here afterwards, and then sort of dealing with that instead of just trying to blast through here, where again, the Allies will be much more prepared for a head-on attack. If they can do that, I think they'll have a chance of winning. I also think at least one of them should consider eventually taking up and going for Panthers and Sturmpanzers that way, adding in some more serious firepower, which to threaten the Allies, because when now with Comets out, they're going to have a bit of a bad time in that department. The Jacksons and such don't help the situation either. As for the Allies, I think they need to be a bit more aggressive towards the east and all, trying to flank the Germans a bit more. They do, have a tendency of just return the same tactics, which then allow the Germans to get back on the field because they don't try and, outmaneuver the Germans. So if they were to try that, I think they'd do better with us, keep up the teamwork and, keep up whatever else they're doing because it seems to be somewhat working there against the Germans. I mean, Deep Duck fans could do with another Comet, and Boy, I think, should consider getting out some tanks, some Sherms, so that way, pressure forwards against the opponents as well. Also, he could consider, maybe, a half-tech to support his men and support, Deep's men on the front line or lay down some strafing runs. That could also, I think, work out quite nicely for them. So let's return to the fight and see what happens here. Pier drop there before opening up in the section, suppressing it inside the trench. Stu being fixed up. Tiger there rolling out for Immature.
The enemy is gaining a foothold. We are down. The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Big 2 points, whilst the Allies have now sort of gone ahead of the Germans here. But I believe the Germans' hand is now, well, melted in the sun like ice. As running up, they gain the troops inside the trench, could actually clear them out if he's not fast enough to retreat. I mean, they have virtually 3 Panzer Grenadiers, plus we've got the MT-40 firing at them. Almost got a wipe there, almost, but not quite. Still need the Austrian fix. In fact, you get the Austrian run over to the rest of this force. I mean, right now it's isolated without any support. That's not actually really a clever idea there by Burmie, to be honest. Tiger moves ahead here, but again, a bit exposed flanks. Their commander fire there from the rifleman and the captain, but first rocket fails to hit the mark, allowing the Tiger to quickly adjust and deal with the troops there. But he's taking very much far to the side here, but again, unsupported by his teammate, whereas again, Burmie's fighting on the east side, also unsupported. Again, they are slightly drying out the Allies for each other purposes. Repairing the Stu Ostwind, separate from anything else. Stu came back, not doing anything. Again, he could go for more armor, but he isn't. Calliope is available now for Boy. It does call it in. And he lost the Panzer Grenadiers there. Again, fought out in the open versus units inside the trench, and the Comet then moving in to wipe. The rest didn't help out. Tiger here under fire. Again, just sort of, slightly sets up here, doesn't try to push in fast against the opponent, just sort of stands about there, allowing Boy to build up a response and sort of counter-attack. So, Immature there, a bit too slow if you will, bit too slow. In the east section, moving up here against the MD-42, Pack 40 hanging back, Comet just waiting, taking a few repairs in the meanwhile. Targeting quite a few hits from bazookas mostly, actually. I don't think that Jackson's actually really had any chance to do anything to the Tiger, so it's already down to half health just from bazooka shots. That's kind of bad. Then these... Oh, Comet going in here. Stuke needs... There we go. Target weak point. Fire the target weak point, Burmie. Target civic point. Why aren't you targeting civic point? Alright, right here, boys, you need to just reverse move it so you can sort of, build up distance. So he doesn't reverse move it. It just allows it to turn 360 degrees, in which case the Stuke is pretty much dead, since the Comet can just drive in circles about it. That's what you want to avoid. That's why you want to reverse move. That is definitely a poor move there by Burmie. Poorly handled. And he's going to lose the Stuke there pretty much on the spot. In fact, he doesn't even try to reverse again. Oh dear, that Stuke's going to go down. And he finally gets the Comet, but he's lost an Osvint and a Stuke. He's lost a lot. In fact, he's almost lost all of his units here. We got a bomb drop called in here. Might get the anti-tank guns, but he's going to lose a lot else. Even got the sappers there. Huge loss to Deep. Quite a big loss as well to him. But there's nothing to support the Panther 4. Could actually grab out the anti-tank and give the Panther 4 a lot of troubles. In the west here we got air support called in. The problem is there's a Buffers nearby. Got the Jackson though. Buffers opening up there on the Stukas. A Sturzkampfbomber. Heavy anti-aircraft fire there against the Luftwaffe aircraft. Immature's target still operating. And Burmie lost the Panzer IV to the anti-tank gun. Aircraft shot down there. So yeah, Burmie should have probably tried to get this Panzer IV out as quickly as possible. Instead, got knocked out. So Burmie is pretty broken right now. He's got 2 Pioneers and an MG42. That's generally not what you call very encouraging. Meanwhile, Immature's the one with the larger force here, but he's having his own issues. So he's basically just continually doing the same thing against Boy, and obviously he's not having the greatest success with, in particular when Deep actually supports Boy. Pioneers with MG42 support against a section of the Bren gun, pushing back the Pioneers. Pioneers healing reinforcement, got another Stuka bomb drop here, probably to support Immature. Goes in against the mortar. Yep, got a few other units as well, 200 points left there. Still a lot of bazookas against the Tiger, most bounce. Right, being pushed back here, could actually push forward, could actually, I think, get the Bofors. If you push it head far enough.
There's a Comet tank ready to go.
Going for the mortar, bazooka fire on the Tiger. A lot of Bofors fire there against the Tiger. Shots bouncing left and right. Shoots at the Scott, misses. Calabi fire as well. 6-pounder gun moving up. Tiger falling back. In the east, MG42 fighting soon against the section there. No, oh, we got another Panther 4 there from Burmie, but he still needs more infantry. Section or Savage trying to flank in him, coming under fire. Tiger down to half health there. Again, just bazookas pretty much just taking down there. Artillery strike here on the German position, going to force them to scatter out. Comet advancing to against Immature's position. He's got a lot of fuel and manpower floating, by the way, but he's not trying, say, call up more armour. Pack 40 wiped. Panther 4 there running for Burmie. In the east, MD42, there's a section there. We got a Pioneers just grabbing eastern victory point. And the Comet's just rolling through here. Pack 40 jumps up, target the weak point. There we go. There we go, stuns the Comet. That could definitely be a loss there of the Comet for Deep. Anti-tankers will support there. Pack 40 pill from the Germans. Shots, both of them bound for off the Comet. Pack and Tiger. But there you go, Comet does go down. Need to pull back the Tiger, need to pull back the Pack 40. Panther 4 flanking in pretty recklessly here. We even got target weak point there from the Pack 40, but misses. Artillery continues to rain down. No, he's going in with the Panther 4. They're right between everything. Gonna get surrounded by bazookas and anti-tank guns. I have no idea what Burmie's thinking, but that is definitely pretty bad there. That Panther 4 is going to go down pretty quickly. And at the moment, with his current force size, that's not something you can afford. He's got a Pioneer and an MG42 left. I have no idea what Burmie was thinking with that. That was just a waste of tanks. He's now going for an Austrian. I mean, poor Immature is just left out to dry in a sense. I mean, still got a large force, but the problem is going to have to do all the fighting now. Because Burmie can't. Need to retreat the MG42. We got more air support there from Boy, in this case more air reconnaissance. So both the Wehrmacht players basically going for an Austrian there. Right being held here by MG42, 5 from light and heavy versions. Target there being fixed up. 11 kills for the fatherland. Still just one kilometer for Boy. As for Deep, he can, well, there's some time off then for Comet. We got a double munitions cache there from the Allies. And Boy's got like 600 munitions. That's insane. He could easily do, you know, call in a ton of air support if he wanted to, or call in artillery support from the Major. All the way, Austrian out there for Immature and for Burmie. Immature's advance once more stalling under heavy German fire, or American fire. Austrians, well, Scots, not sure I want to say Austrians. Scots, MG42s, mortars and what else here. We got the Austrian moving up here in the west and east, it's all engaging the Allies there. Flanking down into the trench. Getting some good hits there. Good work there. In the west, Tiger advancing, almost got the Scot there. But no, pulls back. Austrian up support, he can careful with it and not move it about so much. Rival with bazookas moving ahead. We got the anti-tankers opening up there. Both hits the Austrian, he's going to lose it. As a rule of thumb, the Austrian is not a tank, it's not supposed to be played like a tank. In particular when you know your opponent has a lot of anti-tank guns. Austrian going into the enemy base, might wipe for section there. Get some further losses on Deep.
HQ is under attack.
Burmie's slowly crawling back, but he still needs more infantry. He needs more than just one Panzer Grenadier squad. Immature is getting bludgeoned to death. Another Calliope barrage there from Boy. Wipes another support weapon there, and MD42 crew is sent to heaven. Or hell, or wherever. This is casual gate here by the Austrian.
We have 100 points remaining.
Got Bazooka moving up, need to pull back the Austrian. Again, they're both playing the Austrians pretty recklessly. Clearly they not watched my video on how to use your Austrians better. There you go, Austrian down.
Has destroyed a panzer.
The Germans seem to be getting increasingly reckless and throwing away a lot of their stuff there against the Allies. Rifling up the light machine guns and bazookas. Panzer guns need to fall back into cover. We got another Panzer squad here, but need to retreat the first one. Retreat it, Burmie! Retreat it, Burmie! Another bit of air support here. Tiger about to get knocked out. Again, just charging head on into the Allies. I have no idea there what Immature was thinking. Got the anti-tank gun, another unit. Balfour's easily survived there, thanks to Brace.
Infantry squad trained and ready to go.
Sapper's almost wiped, but yeah, that was not wiped. But again, Immature just really does not seem to be a flanker at all. Which tends to be a pretty bad idea when, you know, your opponent has your own anti-tank guns with the target weak point. In that case, a head-on assault is a really, really terrible idea. At least without a sufficiently big smoke screen, which of course Immature does not bother with. We got another common away there for Deep Dark Fantasy. More samples on the way as well. Germans are slowly crawling back, but they're still overall struggling here. And they're overall suffering a lot. Burmie going for another Stuk there for Deutschland. Calabi fired there against MD40, pushing it back. MD42 hiding out there in what remains of the trench. Other trenches looking significantly better. Second Tiger out there for Immature. Another big tank. Got the Buffers here gaining veterans who won. Panzer going to be pushed back there, so getting sawed through here by the 40mm anti-aircraft gun. Riflemen versus Grenadiers. And a Jackson more here for Boy as well. Not a bad idea at all. Scott providing a bit of light artillery support there with the 75mm howitzer. And they're gonna just do retreat before they're wiped out. In fact, they might still get wiped out there, to be honest, at this point. Stuke moving up for the centre again. Rushing it in there with no support, no infantry, no nothing. Again, right into where the Allies are pretty much densest. It definitely feels like a severe case of tunnel vision here from the German players. They're never trying to evaluate, and they say another, line of attack there against the Allies.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Gonna just need to fall back. They're out in the open, pretty exposed. We've got more support there for Boy, who's got 700 munitions now. That's completely insane. Jackson arrives. Comet versus Tiger. Comet seems to be leading at the moment. Tiger needs to fall back. We got the anti-tank guns, including the Pack 40. One Tiger weak point there, and that could be another Tiger down. In this case, though, he's fortunate that Deep isn't quite fast enough to pop another Tiger weak point. We got there air support clearing it up by accident, it seems, and it's quickly shot down, crashing down on Grenadiers. Stuke again trying to push up here for the centre, and again not really having any effect. Instead now trying to support Immature's forces in the west. Flooding a lot of resources, going for another Ostwind. More Panzer Grenadiers. The funny thing is he's got infinite bulletins, but no Panzer Grenadier bulletins. You'd think he'd go for some of those. Good try to post calling a Stuka bomb drop there. Tiger just charging, Stuke charging into the Pack 40, and there you go. Stuka bomb drop, but he's going to lose to Stuke. Burmie really taking a lot of, I think, insensible risks. Got it. Holy moly, that actually worked out there for Burmie. That is crazy. He wiped the Jackson, the MD-42, and the Pack without touching the Stuke. My apologies there. Also moving up here through the east. Trench here holding the eastern victory point. We've got 58 points left there for the Axis. Stuke, though, gets knocked out here by flanking Comet. Good work there by Deep. Both Pack 40s firing at it, but again, he's got emergency war speed up. We got artillery support raining down. Pack 40 already wiped out there. Allied blob charging in there. Comet down to less than half. Felper won't matter. Tiger too far to support. Pack 40 getting wiped. The MD-4 opening out the troops out in the open. Osman trying to clear out the trench section there. Need to get the Tiger up there to support, but he's exposed in the rear. He's exposed in the rear with the Tiger. Less than 50 points remaining there for the Germans. Looking pretty grim there, pretty grim. Another Jackson there for Boy. MD-4 needs to retreat, but it might be too late now. And once more, Burmese Ostwind charges in the unit there inside the base, trying to wipe it out there. Bromwich gone into tank and moving up there as well to support. There you go, wipes another section. Section under fire, need to pull it back towards safe line. See up here, Tiger, Law and Health fighting against Rifle there, Bazooka rockets flying at it. Grenadiers supporting with light machine guns and spirit and determination. Osman looks to be in a bit of trouble, going to get caught now by two anti-tank guns. He might like to risk losing it at this rate if he's not careful. You got a Jackson moving over there to support him. You got more support here. The problem is, of course, the Bofors. The Bofors is pretty good at shooting down the Stukas then. So far, it's shot down 3 of them. Scott there takes some hits there from the Kanonenvogel as 30 cannons hit it. Almost knocking out the Scott, but it does survive here. It does survive. MD-42 Pack 40 that clearly weren't dealt with there by Immature, and so Boy has quickly able to recruit them and turn them against Immature once more. Panther 4 on the way there for Immature. More armor there. As for Burmie, we got a Stuke again. He's got the eastern side. They're slightly fighting around here, but again, all odds for the most part. Again, the problem is he's leaving Immature many times to fight for himself as well. Whereas again, Boy and Deep have been able to work better together. Rifle pinned down there by the MD-42, hitting Veterancy 2. Tiger being fixed up there. Osman there knocked out. I'm not entirely sure what Burmie there was expecting. He knew there were anti-tankers operating in the area. So I have no idea what Burmie was expecting. I mean, Burmie's been really reckless this match. He's lost a lot of units in pretty insensible manners. Panther 4 there running for Immature. Another Stuka bomb drop. This time though, getting a single squad, but otherwise mostly wasting a lot of munitions, I would say. Rifle almost wiped there. Jack's moving up. Tiger, veterans who won 11 kills. Stu moving up. They're getting up. He's trying to attack head on into anti-tank guns with Com there's going to flank into it. We've got Pioneers with Piets covering the flank, and that's all really Burmie's guard there. But when we're getting there, the Jackson Tiger needs to fall back there further. Jackson misses the Panther 4. The Panther 4 moves in again. Oh, pretty reckless there. Pretty risky. Pioneers, Stuke here versus the Comet. Comet, they're still focused on other things there. Need to pull back the Stuke and the Pantagonies and the Pioneers. 44 points left. He's going to lose the Stuke. He's going to lose the Stuke. He's got nothing to support. He's going for a pack 40, but it's too late. It's too late. Another Scot there for Boy. More mobile artillery of the lighter kind.
Gun is ready for orders.
There we go. Another Stuke kaput for Burmie. Another loss for the Panzer. Tiger Panther 4 moving up here. Another unit wiped, but Tiger's almost knocked out there. We got the Jackson flying away. We got air support. Oh, that was quickly dealt with there. Grenadiers, Pioneers milling about. Need to work on that Tiger. 38 points left. Comet just rushing for everything. Pack 40 they're trying to stop it. It's already virtually 2 here. Flanks the pack pretty easily. Cash is knocked out. And pack 40 is down. Knocked out here by the British armour. Artillery fire here on Immature's positions. Completely wrecking them. Tearing them apart like they're made of paper. Another Stuttgart here for Burmie. Another Sturmgeschütz. 30 points left. Rather than being suppressed. 142 moving hit. They're setting up in the trench.
Germans are on the ropes.
Stuttgart getting the sappers. MD42 wiped. Looking rather like GG here. 13 points left. Not a single victory point under their control.
They're trying to take it.
Four points left. 1 point left. And GG, game over. Loss here to the Germans. Initially started out well, but the problem was in part the overall just poor teamwork between the two Western allies. Overall cooperated better, so even when, Boy was behind, deep people, performed better. And overall, they were much closer to each other, but here's the game sort of went into longer. It was clear, basically, Burmie too reckless, suffering too much loss. They was all not able to keep up there, which left Immature to carry the weight, and the problem was Immature wasn't really that great either. I mean, while he was able to keep sources better alive, there was one massive problem with Immature. He suffered from extreme tunnel vision. He basically could only see this part here. There was nothing else for him. He never, went beyond that part of the map there. He never tried to flank, tried to assist Burmie, nothing there, except for, I think, one time with the Stuttgart. I mean, really, extreme tunnel vision there from Immature, partly a bit from Burmie. The Allies suffered a bit from as well, but deep there was, I think, able to keep a better overall clear head, and I think he was definitely sort of the better player this match there out of all the four. But Burmie, definitely a lot of mistakes. They need to work on his unit preservation, needs to work on his teching. And again, I think, one of them could have benefited, either from getting a lot more armoured faster, which also Burmie could have done, or at least maybe going for some Panthers or something else. And there were some definite issues there. And also definite lack of flanking. Again, there was never really any time, they tried to outmaneuver, trying to hit their opponents from a lot of other flanks, except for that one time with the 2-2 from here. And that was it there. There was really a lot that the Germans could have done to improve here. I mean, they just sort of sensibly knocked themselves, dead, I suppose. So that wasn't really, that great. And again, I think it to an extent highlights a lot of the Axis play at the moment in 2 versus 2 on the higher levels. Again, they'll just sort of keep bashing away. That they'll never try to flank, then they'll try to maneuver, and the teching tends to be kind of rubbish. I mean, there's not really a lot of good decisions there. And again, they tend to get overly focused on one point, and sort of forget the rest of the map there. So that's, again, a bit typical here. Allies said, all right, good teamwork again, good teching, good use of armor, and overall, good play. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, want to subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send in replay and provide some feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Cheers. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Cheers.